tunes that we've enjoyed, not always have been played on the show in the past, but I mean, we'll be dipping back into the Steve archive. We'll revisit a few classic moments, and then we'll go and never return. I tell you, this is an absolute corker, isn't it? Here it comes. Here it comes. I remember now why I'm leaving. I remember the stern words that the BBC Six Music bosses and fans had with me when they presented the petition. No one's complaining about that, are they? Surely not. Well. A round of applause, please, for Stevie Wonder. Let's try and have so many rounds of applause today that it becomes tiresome and exhausting for everyone listening.
You've been a huge Stevie Wonder fan for a long time.
Long time Stevie Wonder fan, yes.
And of course, this is the last show, and the last shows are always full of surprises, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, are we playing another Stevie Wonder?
No, that's it. That's the last one. I didn't understand then whether you were going to spring Stevie on me, or whether I was supposed to spring Stevie on you.
No, I was going to spring Stevie on you. I didn't work out. How did that get on? Well, I put a call into his people earlier this week, but he's busy, he said, like, with his life.
Sure,
and he couldn't come over, which was disappointing.
I know, because I several times tried to get him on the show, but I kept sending emails. What was I thinking? I was a fool to myself. Fool to myself. But there we are. Oh, poor old Sammy, there you are. Choking on a little bit of muffin, possibly for the last time. No more laughs in your sad little life, I'm afraid, once I have gone. What will you do without me? How will you live? How will you cope?
I'm not sure I'm gonna.
You're not?
No, I think it's over. After tonight, that's it.
So, listen, a lot of people who have spoken to me about this final show have said, Steve, are you going to tell it like it is? And I said, then what do you mean? And they said, I don't know. And they walked away. But I think what they meant was, am I going to use this final show as an opportunity to voice whatever's on my mind? And I'm thinking, yeah.
Broken Britain.
Possibly Broken Britain, obviously. Am I going to tell it like it is? Am I going to tell it like it was? Am I going to tell it like it might be? Who knows? But no, I've pretty much voiced, I think, many of my feelings over the course of the 2 years we've been doing the show. I've not kept much from the listeners, honesty is very much my policy. But I'm thinking to myself, are the listeners out there, are they thinking to themselves, is that a last opportunity to ask the gang certain things, to ask the gang for certain things, to put certain shouts out? Just basically, it's your last opportunity to make use of this programme. We've always been about public service broadcasting, as you know. And so if you are out there and you feel that there is something that you would like to gain from us on this last programme, then you can get in touch. I'm talking, for instance, is there something you want to know about us, a question you want to ask of us, something you want us to do, a kind of truth or dare style scenario. Think of it as very much your programme. Certainly it's no longer, so get in touch. Let me play this.
If you think Stephen Merchant's life could be improved.
No, that's not the right one.
That's an awful one. We never actually played that one,
I don't know, what does she actually say at the end of that sentence?
That's such a rarity. That's a Steve Show rarity.
What does she say? I'm delving into the Steve Show archive for stuff I've never played. What does she actually say at the end of that?
If you think Stephen Merchant's life could be improved through hearing the tracks that rock your world.
No, that's too. No,
that backing sounds like you've got tinnitus. There's a kind of horrible jingly thing in the background.
But they just knocked that one off at the end of a tired session. They'd done all the important jingles that day for Lamo and Lamac and the like.
And it's going to be abusive. If you think Stephen Merchant's life is a sad, miserable waste of time, I thought that's how it was going to end. I was a bit disappointed when it went the other way.
The contact item. Where is it there? What's it doing down there, hidden away?
Madness.
But you know what, it's great. It is, as I said last week, it's very much like the final, when you're working out your notice.
Yeah.
You put your feet up, you're not answering the phone when you're supposed to.
Just taking what you can.
Can you return that call to Mr. Simpkins from Nuneaton? Yeah, maybe later. Brackets, I won't.
Text us on 64046 or email stephen.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk.
There you are. So you can get in touch with us if there's anything that you feel we can provide to you, the listener, on this last and final show. As I say, I thought we would dip back into the archive and think back to some of the moments that have tickled us in the past. You recall when the lovely Rashida Jones came in, actress. Rashida, probably seen most recently in that film I Love You Man, and of course daughter of the famous music producer Quincy Jones. And she came in and she told us about her life growing up in and around the world of Michael Jackson.
Well, we did spend a lot of time in groups. Kids at his house playing games, eating candy, playing with animals, and Bubbles,
the monkey,
Bubbles, had a really traumatic experience where he kind of attacked me.
You were attacked by Bubbles.
Attacked by Bubbles.
Can we just have a Steve Wright-style round of applause? I'd like to tell you the last person who's come on this show and has been attacked by Michael Jackson's pet monkey. Email us on 64046. Have you been attacked by a celebrity's pet?
Yeah, he bit right there. He bit my my
Is that a
phone.
scar there?
Yeah, this one here.
That scar there, manufactured by a caged monkey.
Like that.
And so, what were you poking? Were you prodding him? Were you making fun of him?
Well, I wasn't making fun of him, but he was throwing things at me, videotapes, books. He was kind of wild. And I went up and I tried to discipline him, and I kind of slapped him on the head and said no. And he didn't like that very much.
Protection for gangs, clubs and nations, causing grief in human relations. It's a turf war on a global scale. I'd rather hear both sides of the tale. See, it's not about races, just places, faces. Where your blood comes from is where your space is. I've seen the bright get duller. I'm not gonna spend my life being a colour. But tell me you agree with me when I saw you kicking dirt in my eye. But if you think about my baby, it don't matter if you're black or white. If you're thinking about my baby, it don't matter if you're black or white.
I can't even remember why we recorded that at the Summer Sunday Festival in Leicester last summer. Why did we?
It was because we were taking a longed-for sideways look at the racial makeup of the audience.
Right.
Sunday.
Is that the reason?
We were staggered by the whiteness of the crowd.
Sure.
And so to address the balance, I remember you saying, I know what's going to knock this problem on their head.
Yes.
I'm going to sing Black or White.
I'll posit another theory. We'd been drinking some incredibly strong cider the night before.
Very right, absolutely.
We got no real ideas for the show that day. We went around and tried to find some musical instruments, realised we couldn't play anything.
A madcap dash for bongos, I remember that.
Found someone who could play Black or White and then proceeded to make a mess of it.
But I remember at the time thinking that was the greatest piece of radio ever in the history of man. How wrong I was. I was thinking,
I didn't attend that because I didn't agree with the message you were giving me.
I actually quite impressed by my rap. I thought my rap was quite.
It was pretty good.
But your singing was poor.
It was bad.
It was much worse than I remember.
That's ungenerous of you. At that time, everyone in fact, gave me a lot of, I was saying, I
know.
think it was in the wrong key, I think it was a bit too high for me, and I was going, no mate, yeah, you're alright, you got up there. Even Jonah's Policewoman, let's not forget.
Yeah, Jonah's Policewoman was on backing
There's
vocals.
the irony. We had Jonah's policeman, ironically dressed as a nurse, and yet we didn't give her the chance
why
to
didn't
sing.
she sing it?
She didn't say, she said she didn't know the song, but I think that was just to trick me into singing the lead line and her to sing backups.
The percussion, though, was very strong. Sammy on bongos
Thank you.
did a great job, and vibes provided by Harry.
Yeah.
Also great work.
I think Harry dazzled us all with his talents on that day. He really stood out as having the most talent of our team.
No, I think that's true.
Don't think there won't be more of my rapping prowess later in the show. When I was asked which band would I like to have on the final show, I said obviously some kind of Blues Brothers tribute act. Sadly, they weren't available, but we are very lucky because Brighton's electronica outfit, Fujiya Miyagi, will be here later to play for us in the Hub. Oh, Glenn Campbell, Wichita Lineman, one of the greatest songs ever written, one of the greatest performances ever, and yes, playing just favourite tunes on today's Steve Show. I said that I was going to tell it like it is. We've had a few people emailing in saying, Steve, you're a sellout because you provided a voiceover for a well-known bank, obviously bankers being the devil's spawn, as we all know at the moment. And am I a sellout? Well, yes, I've always been a sellout. I've always been happy to acknowledge that. I have a real problem with the idea of sort of, the kind of comedians and people and performers that one shouldn't sell out, because it strikes me that as soon as you try to make any money from any kind of artistic endeavour, then you are selling out in some way. The notion that Bill Hicks, for instance, didn't sell out, well, yeah, he didn't do voiceovers and adverts, but then he did sell tickets for his concert. So at what point is he a sellout? I don't understand. If you're part of the capitalist infrastructure, are you a sellout? I've never quite understood the rules of the definition of sellout.
That was basically a beef he had with Dennis Leary, I think, and it was it that he built up into a whole way of life.
Right. And also, I'd like the people who think I'm a sellout to come into this room, and I will write a cheque for the amount of money they gave me for that, and I will offer it to you, and I will say, do you want this for 40 minutes work? And if they tear it up and throw it in my face, then I will shake them by the hand. I guarantee they won't. Harry, let's have a musical choice from you, a final musical choice, and as I say, a tune which is one of your favourites.
Yeah, I mean, this has been horrible. I'm sure we've all been through traumas. Songs in my bag. We have to decide on a Tuesday, and you never know how you're going to feel by a Sunday. So I brought 3 with me, and I almost changed my mind 5 minutes before the show, but I didn't. My one true love, the only gang I ever wanted to be in, apart from this one, was Rocket from the Crypt. Their album Hot Charity was out in '93. I was at university, and it came out on vinyl, and I couldn't stop buying copies of it. I didn't have any money. I couldn't really eat properly. But every time I saw a copy of it on vinyl, because it was limited edition, I thought, I better buy that in case my copy breaks somehow. If I leave it in the sun and it just melts.
Now, because I was discussing our university days with Dan the other day, and am I right in saying that one of the student accommodations you lived in, instead of cleaning the grill after you'd perhaps done sausages or whatever, you used to heat up said grill until the fat that had collected in the bottom was now liquid again, and pour it off into the bin. That was your idea of cleaning.
What am I going to do? Chip off congealed fat with some kind of...
Am I right in saying that you used to buy paper plates and cups and throw them away?
That was an isolated incident due to a row over washing up.
Is it right that you once ate a meal off a magazine rather than a plate?
There are elements of truth to all of these accusations, Steve, and I'm not going to sit here and confirm or deny all of them. You know, let's just say I was a student, I was living with some, you know, a couple of these guys were older than me. They'd already been away from home for a year, and their way of life was appalling.
I'll tell you this, if you are a student out there, and I'm sure there's a few, do go with the magazine idea. It's
off a
tremendous
magazine,
idea.
it's brilliant.
Eat off a magazine and just tear those pages out.
Yeah.
If you get yourself, order up, say, a Freeman's or Case catalogue, you've got crockery there for at least a couple of terms.
Well, here's a little tip. Go down the doctor's surgery, just nick a load of magazines, take them back and eat off them. Now, you might
do not
get
steal
something.
magazines from any kind of surgery.
But
People,
if you-
we're on the BBC. My God, he's telling it like it is.
But no, from a doctor's surgery, it's fine, because they've not bought them. People just donate them.
Yeah, but
so.
they're covered in swine flu. What are you talking about,
Just give them a quick wipe, or just put a layer of melted fat onto the cover of the magazine, and then your dinner.
If you're drinking or eating soup, just turn up the edges, just curve up the edges there, and that'll see you fine, you know.
Yeah. No,
There's a lot of great ideas, great tips for students.
You know, student life is messy, I don't think anyone would deny that. Anyway, this is guilt-free, Rocket from the Crypt.
Harry's last ever musical choice on the Steve Show, and explain yourself.
Guilt-free by Rocket from the Crypt. That was probably the first song that really got me into them and led me to find all the noisy music that people have pretty much not liked and that I've played on the radio for the last 2 and a bit years.
Thank God it's about to stop.
Yeah, that's it.
6 Music.
Where's he been?
No.
Any ideas?
What, Lamb?
Yeah.
Doing good deeds, I expect.
Tell it like it is.
No.
What?
Not going to say anything else.
So, do you remember when we first started doing this show, one of our concerns was that when there's a room full of Rufus, Tiny Dan, Harry, there's a whole heap of testosterone flying around.
That's a lot of man, isn't it?
It's a lot.
It's the bloody lads.
That's a lot of blokes. That is like 4 Steve Austins in a room with the Hulk, Mr. T, and...
The Rock, your friend.
The Rock, could be The Rock.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, mate. Thanks for that. Yeah, it's exactly that. And Dan. And so we thought to ourselves, listen, this is no good. We need to get ourselves a little bit of crumpet in the show to stop it being sexist. And so we put out an appeal for what became known as a She-J, many entries, many of them very good. And the one that we chose was the lovely Sammy, who's here with us now. Round of applause for Sammy. Every week she travels down... Every week she travels down from the north, somewhere in the north, not sure where, and she does it on the, what do you do, on the bus, the mega bus?
Well, I've moved from mule to bus, now up to train.
Train. Now, when you say train, is it one of those things you see in old films where you get on a track, sort of pushing on a lever? Do you have to do that?
That I aspire to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's lovely. So, obviously, thank you for coming down every week. But do you remember this is your first appearance on the show? Have a listen. And I'm very, very pleased indeed to welcome, and I hope you'll applaud in the Steve Wright style, Sammy. Whoa! She's the first person brave enough to come down and chat with us and just hang with us in the crib. And